Mr. Metelsky here, and the video that you are watching will be covering how to simplify square roots. And we are going to be going through the method of simplifying square roots by finding the largest perfect square factor. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, perfect square factors are factors that are over here. These are all perfect squares, 144, 121, 100, so on. Now I only went up to 12 squared, which is 144, but of course you can continue on to 13 squared, 14 squared, so on, as high as you want. So our goal today will be to try to figure out the biggest one of these numbers, it's on the right hand side, that goes into the number inside the radicand, or inside the radical, which is called the radicand. So in here, what we're going to do is we're going to try to look at 147, and we're going to think, okay, what number would go into 147 that's in this list? Well, sometimes it's obvious, other times it's going to take a little bit more effort. 147 is not a number probably that you work with on a daily basis. It's not a number that I work with on a daily basis all that much. So one of the things that I like to do is I look at 147 and I think, well, I know that any number bigger than 147 can't go in to 147. So that means that 144 and below I'm going to have to stick with. And you also need to think of it realistically. I mean, the first number that we would look at that goes into it is 2, and 2's not in our list of perfect squares. So if we divide 147 by 2, 147 divided by 2, that gets us 73.5. So what we're going to do is we're going to start looking at the first perfect square that's under 73.5, and we're going to start dividing. Now, I have my calculator up here just to show you the process, but I'm hoping that you won't use your calculator for everything. But if we do 147 divided by 64, you're going to see it doesn't work, at least evenly. It goes 2.296875 times. Now, if we keep doing this and go to the next one, which would be 49, so we're going to do 147 divided by 49. That goes into it 3 times. So root 147 really can be rewritten as root 49 times 3. And we can break those into 2 square roots, root 49 and root 3. And root 49, the square root of 49 is 7. So this will become 7 root 3. Okay? All right, let's try another one, 72. So this time, let me get rid of all this stuff here. 72, if we come over here and divide 72 in half, it's going to come out at 36. So 36 is the biggest number we're going to start with, and actually it ends up going into excuse me, it ends up going into 36 perfectly, because if we do 72 divided by 36, it goes into it twice. So we're going to be able to rewrite this as root 36 times 2. So this breaks into root 36 times root 2, and root 36 is 6 root 2. So that's our answer. All right, our third example, we have 4 root 18. And sometimes you'll notice that we have a number in front of the square root, and that just means that it's multiplying. So this just really means 4 times root 18. So we're going to handle the root 18, and the 4 is sort of going to come along for the ride. So the 4 comes down, and the 18 we're going to look at, and we're going to think, okay, what perfect square goes into 18? Well, if I try to find the biggest one, it's going to be 9. So I could break this up into root 9 times 2. So this then would become 4 root 9 root 2. Now, all of these things are technically multiplying. So 4 times, well, root 9 is really 3. And then root 2 we can't evaluate. So now we can multiply the two numbers outside the radical sign, which is 12, so it'll be 12 root 2. So the main idea here in this process is looking at the number and finding the biggest number out of these numbers over here on the right that will fit, that will be a factor of that number. And a good rule of thumb to use is that you can divide it by 2 and then start on this list at that stage. Okay, so like if I had root 124, I would start by dividing 124 by 2 to get 62. And then that would mean that I'm going to start at 49 on my calculator. Okay? Alrighty. Good luck.